ask for permission, but I'm sure that it should be okay. If it's not, I guess they'll take it off. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and translate it. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and like and subscribe. Go to my channel, AMLO-Vision, and help me out, because I'm trying to help with the fourth transformation of Mexico. And I've been watching AMLO, and so I decided to translate it so that English-speaking public could also learn about AMLO. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start the video, and I'm going to translate to the best of my ability. I may have to stop it at times, and make comments if that's okay with you. Oh wow, where is it? Oh, I guess I've got to put on the display. Now this guy works every single day. I don't think he's taken a day off since he started, because he wants to set everything in place. That's the palace, and that's where he's headed. Or to La Chingada, to Palenque, Chiapas. But he thinks it's going to be Palacio, because the people want that there be a change, a true change. And that's what we're going to be dealing with people, starting the December the 1st of 2018, to help the people of Mexico. I am from this town, from a family that was commercial, and I'm very proud. This house that's abandoned used to belong to my grandfather, Jose Obrador Revuelta. He had male children and female children. Among the female, my mother, Manuelita Obrador. She embarked into a cayuca, and she used to get in the water, and she used to sell merchandise on all the sides of the road, and she would sometimes go 2 times for 2 days with merchandise. And when she met the father, she convinced him that they should open a store. And so he's a friend of his from there. They were owners, and they continue to be owners of that area next to him. Where the town ends, their ranch begins where this town ends. But we used to go bathe in there, in Topete. All of us. From 3 in the afternoon. And my mother had her little store over here, and then when it was about 6 or 7, she would stand at her door, and she used to yell, Andres Manuel, Jose Ramon. And we were bathing, and so we'd say, take off, let's go home. So then I went to study second or high school, and then I went to prep in Villahermosa. So I'm going to go show you the home, and that's his wife and his son. So this used to be my home. This is where I grew up, in Tepetlan, Macustana, Tabasco. Chule. Oh, and she's very happy to see him. And may God take care of you and bless you. We're with you. And he says thank you. And I won't forget. They said, don't forget us when you go to the palace. When I was chief of government of the city of Mexico, they say that power, when there is no convictions and no principles, it makes you stupid. The intelligent ones, and the dumb ones, it makes them crazy. But I know I am well anchored and my feet are on the ground and I am never going to change. That's what I value most in my life, my honesty and my authenticity. And that's how I will continue. I'm very proud and at the same time that my paternal grandparents, they're from this area, Coalapan. These are my origins. I am mestizo. With lots of pride. I lived as a young child in the town of Palenque. And I used to walk through here. And I climbed in one occasion to that mountain, to the point of that mountain. It's an observatory. And it was not but it's permitted to exist. We are what we are. We have not been disintegrated with our cultures. That's why we have been able to resist epidemics, earthquakes, and bad situations due to our culture. What I want to do is take advantage of this strong culture that exists in our culture. And it's sad that the old Maya, and that it's margined, it's forgotten. Wow, it's gorgeous. Oh, I want to go there. So it was abandoned. But there is potential there for knowledge, for getting to know, for a knowledge that's astronomical. They know when you're to plant. Not anybody knows. I want to recover all these knowledge so that we can learn to be self-sufficient and to bring our own, what does he say, our corn and good natural corn. And we gather up the people that's been margined, that never has been taken into account. So here, I used to walk in 1973, and I studied political science thanks to a grant that I had. We had 80 students, and they gave us shelter and food. My mother thought I wasn't studying, and so my mother came to make sure. And she all of a sudden showed up in my classes, or started at the window saying, and I turned, and I come out rapidly, because, you know, the youth, if a parents come, they are embarrassed. So I came out, and I came with my mother here, and we sat, and I hugged him with all my love. And then she realized I was studying. And that's a good thing, because that was a miracle, because the students with few shortage of resources, it's very hard for them to finish. And now, in a silent way, there's a lot of people that don't have the money to study. The education is not it's a right. It's not a privilege. The youth that they canceled their future. They just named them memes that neither do they study nor do they work, like if it was their fault that they took away their opportunities. We have to pull on to our side the youth, otherwise we won't be able to stop delinquency. because they will grab them. If the president is honest, the governors will have to be honest as well. Oh, wow. There will come a time that there will be growth in the economy, and they will require qualified workers, and so we're going to develop Mexico so that there will be enough and to make them able to work. All of this used to be like a what do you call it, like word where you what do they say, where you can sink in. And this is where I learned how to work in the fields of the community. I am very proud of that. Like these people, Mayas Chontal, with the, I hope, are you guys hearing? Oh my God, this may be too low. So, it was about like 40 hectares. No, maybe 60. Land and water. It's a canal. And so we went to give water to the mojarra. So you don't remember me anymore? You don't recognize me? Yes, I do. No, he says my side is not so good anymore. They operated me on that one, but now I'm waiting for them. I have cataract. Oh, attorney. No, we're going to continue to struggle. At that time, in those times, there came a program that was integral in all the area Chontai. There was also credits to your word. They bought ranches and lands, and they gave it to the people. These lands were given to the people, the poor people that lived in this area, and they were margined off. But in the lowest zones, in the poorest areas, and they made dwellings. Oh, look at that. Look at what he's carrying on that bike. So he said, I'm here visiting you. Look here. That's my little sprout. Ernesto. And I brought him so he could recognize or know all the places here. And we still continue to fish and do all the same stuff. How have you been? Oh, so it looks like he knows all these people. Simon, I'm here visiting. This is a plains that are at the level, sea level, and it's a low area. So sometimes water comes in. So this work is to make it deeper, so that when the water comes, it makes channels. And what you get out from the bottom, you bring it up, and then it fills the water. And so then this area will not get drowned, or it will not sink in. Swamp. The word I was looking for was swamp. So just like we shouldn't buy gasoline, we should be self-sufficient. And we shouldn't have to buy the beans, rice, milk. Everything should be and give jobs, rescue the fields, so that there'll be integration with the families, so that they won't have migration due to necessity, so that if they go, it'll be because they want to. But instead of moving migration, we're gonna stay here. If you want to work, well, you can stay here. And you know what I learned? What democracy in indigenous is consensus. One represents all. And he expresses what all the people are feeling. These agreements are fundamental. Here there's no opposition. They have consensus. And when we do it, I will ask the people, and I don't want to do anything if the people don't agree. That's the true happiness, to give a hand to those that need it. Give a hand to the fallen back and bring them equal with you so that you can walk together. One of the best times of my life was here in this central area. This is a man I admire, a great poet. Water of Tabasco, I am. Water of Tabasco, I am. And this is why I am here. Okay, it's a beautiful home. So let's go to where I lived. So this is in 77 and 78. I lived here till 82. I lived here with my first wife, Rocio. And here, the oldest of my sons, Jesus Ramon, was born here. He talks about how his struggle was. So this is where we crossed the border of the Cajuca. Here in 1955, the indigenous movement, they claimed because Pemex was contaminating the water, the land, the air. And so I told the operative, what's the order that you have? What the order was to block, to prohibit that they. So we started singing the national hymn. There he is as a young man. Oh, and looks like they attacked him. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. That's one of the decisions that one takes in life, and I am not ashamed of it. Because it's to act of convictions and in a pacific or peaceful way. Never has there been a death in one of our meetings that we maintain. And look here, that I am asking you something today, that we have been attacked. A person can put their life in, but you should not put other people's lives at risk. They came and they threw gases at the people, and they threw lots of bullets, and some this way and some that way. We ran every direction. All the group used the same. Let's go. It's a man that's fought a lot for the community. He used to work here. He used to help a lot of the elderly, especially the people from the fields. And he even helped them with homes. And at that time, and that's why the people follows him. Because he cares about the ones on the bottom. I came through here walking about 26 years ago because they didn't want to respect us at the beginning of Cardenas, Tabasco. And so we had to walk from Villahermosa to the city of Mexico. It was done by 3 groups. The Democrats and the mystics thought that it was like a pilgrimage. Some rebels, these poor people. So since that time, but you did 2 exoduses. Yeah, but I'm talking about the first one. But the second one was the same through here. And the other one was in 1994. because they did a fraud. See, this is where this was the scene of one of the great movements of a cultural and religious place. This is a house of I've slept here for months. I've done acts, manifestations. And an attorney named Yes. In this, they were full in this plaza. And they're telling him, "You are not alone." They're chanting, "You are not alone." So they were trying to jail him, giving him. So he's talking on the case against him. So in this country of impunity, so they're going to incarcerate me, and they're going to take away my rights because I wanted to open a road to let someone get to a hospital. But I am sure that this isn't just, and that it's because of my way of acting, and because I want to represent the people and the future of our people. So as you can suppose, I'm accustomed, and I don't accept injustices easily, and I plan to that people that believe in justice and liberty, and I will take no one to be confronted. Anything that we do will be written in peaceful and the end. As you know, you've received your orders of your parties, and you're going to act as consignment officially, even though it's unpopular. You guys are going to judge me that you neither make the dignity of the people live. Look at that man. He had like tape. Oh my gosh. I had already a clear idea that they were going to vote for putting me in jail. There was a lot of sadness. It was a combined rage and sadness because the PRI and the PAN, they voted. They're traitors again, and they're hating on the government. They need to all be sent to jail. They don't want their candidate, their brother, to be going to jail. We will fight until the end. Democracy has died. And yes, they're injuring the most sacred thing of our patriots, is our democracy, our rights. My goodness, you guys, I'm sorry for these things. sad. The people took me out because the people is very strong. The people of Mexico are very solidarity, fraternal. The people is most conscientious, and that's I've only seen solidarity in Mexico in the indigenous peoples, and this, even though this is a lot of people work here and fast and they're involved in their own mind, but when it comes to support a just cause, the people manifest. Oh, look at that. Boy, they sure did manifest. Look at that. Wow. This is impressive. I can't believe I missed all of this. See, none of this was in the news over here. I didn't know anything of this when it was happening. So they rectified their adversaries, that they need to change their attitude. On our part, we will always have an attitude that's frank and generous and responsible. We are going to continue to fight in a peaceful manner, and we will have confidence and that our cause is just, and it will triumph. In these last few days, I've received lots of acts of support and solidarity from you, of workers, of housewives and indigenous workers, commercial people, the intellectuals, artists, every person in the town. And that's why I repeat again, with all my heart, I love you without containment. So there was lots of years of struggle and protest, manifestation, and in defense of the petroleum, in defense of rights, democracy. When I came into this place, the first thing I did was open this window and come to this balcony, so I would not forget that Zócalo had been many times protesting, so that I won't forget where I came from. My three children, Jesus and Beatriz, they back me, they support me. There's sometimes they know that I don't get to be with them a lot. But the second is Andres, Gonzalo is the third from my first marriage, and Jesus, my youngest, with Beatriz. And they all get along really well. They critique that in this home there lives a totalitarian integral. Populist I am so intolerant that he decided to go to America. Those things end with time. He says no. In Tabasco, as children, we suffered because my father founded the opposition. We're not like these juniors that are abusive. We're not going to take part of the being a government. We don't want to be part of nepotism. It's another problem with nepotism. I think it's important as an activity to transform, but in the personal way, I would not devote myself to, not even remotely. And my way of seeing people in power, not as untouchable, like that has those 100 bodyguards, but it's more like somebody that's like a common man, and he says he's gonna go into power like an equal, because power is, yeah, so he says these family members, the wives, the fathers, people that take public posts of importance, they take sometimes rights that they haven't won with their family members. My counsel is that, or advice that I've given to my children, whom I love so dearly, in our talks, that circular dialogues with Beatriz as beloved ones. I always tell them that to stay away from materialism. I would like to continue having coffee and to be able to walk on the street. So, there's no first lady in this country. We're all first dames because we all have a value. One thing, all of us are valuable and part of the family. Sometimes the woman is the one that has to head the family and has to bring her children because maybe the husband no longer exists or he left her. Yeah. So there's no second place, third place. They're all first dates. What the writer most desires in his life is to be read. I would love for people to read my books. Oh, when someone says, "Oh, I read this book and I loved it," it's wonderful because when I was writing it, that's how I feel. Like I was thinking of you when I was writing it. So she's doing a book signing. Apparently she's a writer. It requires to conceptualize of what's happening as of your understanding historical and cultural. And she helps me a lot. She's a critique. She does her critiques that feign that I don't listen and that I'm messianic and totalitarian and all that. If they know Beatriz, they know it ain't so. Nos dicen que quiere hacer. So he tells us what he wants to do. So this is the other side of Mexico, the profound Mexico, the deep Mexico. We're running a straight line from the Zócalo, right in the city of Mexico. It's still part of the same scene of the old forgotten people, as if though time had not moved, as if though we were lost in time, like it had not moved, anchored in time. Chimalhuacán, 800,000 inhabitants. 6 de Los Paz, 800 inhabitants. More than 2 million inhabitants in Ecatepec. So all of this, that is all this urban zone, there's millions of Mexican people living in precarious conditions. This municipality, as a long time, has been governed by the PRI, with a corporation. And that makes it harder, this situation, because they continue to be conditioned with public services. The programs should be given to the benefit of all the citizens. When our movement triumphs, we have to attend to all the margined and popular areas in the urban areas of our country. That is, what they lack is material things, but they have a lot of fraternity. They feel unsafe because you can't go outside because they'll attack you. And talking about that, women, when you walk through these areas, you don't feel safe. You can't wear something that you might wear a dress or something because you might be attacked. Because people have arms. We all want something good, and we are conscious that there's a lot of things that we need, and we struggle so that we can have a future, a better Mexico. All the young people we're going to bring Mexico forward. And so would you like to reunite here? I would like to make an invitation to Peña Nieto to live in 1 day, or I'm sorry, 1 month in this area. See if he would be able to do it, because the majority of the community has a scarce economy, because they can't even give their children education. We have lived every area that has like scarcity of goods, but we want access to education, access to jobs, and a state of right, and access to health. And we don't want our families that if we go to a hospital, the areas are inhumane, that we have to wait and we have to sleep outside the hospital to try to get in the signal. I want us to be very tranquil, because there's so many things that have been seen. We cannot go outside of our house because they'll take away your purse or your cell phone. Can you make sure and you give a hand to all these people that are humble? Because it's so hard to come up and walk through there and no water, no drainage. And it's hard for them to even, there are no roads, they can't even get to their jobs. The poverty is not due to destiny or because it's casual. I believe it's due to corruption and bad government. So they're saying the people being ignorant is not good. You can see the strength of Mexico because they move in support. If Mexico, it can lift itself up as an organized society, and the people are the ones that need to tell the government what to do, not the government tell the people what to do. We know that we want education. We don't want money. We want work and education. So that is what I'm going to commit, that all the people of the ones that are that they will give work, they will let them train, that we will give you jobs, we'll give you grants so that you can be able to go. So they're gonna, he says, don't think that I'm the same as the others, as the corrupt politicians. Only to tell you that I've been at this 40 years struggling for the poor people. And until I die,
por la gente humilde, por la gente necesitada. Como se dice popularmente, la tercera es la vencida. Vamos
Well,
a participar.
I will continue to fight for the support. And sometimes we feel like crying. And
Cuando Salinas se
With Salinas,
privatizó Fertimex y llegó a manos esta planta
he gave this plant to Fertimex,
Ancira, amigo,
a friend
socio
of
de
his,
Salinas de Gortari.
a Salinas de Gortari's friend.
Y Ancira consideró de que no era negocio producir fertilizantes.
He didn't really want to
Y dejó
produce
que casi
fertilizer,
se convirtiera
and
la
he let
planta
it convert into
en chatarra.
like a piece of junk.
Y oh, sorpresa,
And
llega Peña Nieto.
then Peña Nieto came in, and in 2014 he bought it, and maybe it was 50 million, and they paid for it totally. That was destroyed, $500 million, and besides that, they're investing 500 million to rehabilitate it. But now, but it's already cost the people that money that's all for all the people. That's $1 billion. It's $1,000 million. Salinas and Peña Nieto via some intermediaries. This is the principal problem of Mexico, corruption, and that's what we're going to end. We're going to end with these businesses, these juicy businesses that they take the money of the public money, and it costs the people a lot. That's why we can't go get ahead. In 10 years, Odebrecht received contracts, besides concessions, from Pemex, more than $5,000 million. With influentialism. He didn't even pay any money, and it came to such the influence and Calderon's time, and this association. So the administration of Odebrecht, it went in Los Pinos. And they convinced the people that we should do procedures that are ethical for businessmen and, of course, the government of Mexico. The Southeast requires special attention. It's a abandoned region. The Pacific is on this side, Salina Cruz, and there's the Gulf. We're in the port of Coatzacoalcos. These ports were made at the same time as they made a railway. It's about 300 kilometers. One of the projects that we're going to impulse or encourage is to make this corridor. We're going to modernize it, these 300 kilometers, and we're going to construct a new container railway. It's a strategic zone because it's like the Panama Canal. We're going to, in 300 kilometers, we're going to give incentives so they can install businesses, armories, so that they won't have to take the merchandise from Asia to the U.S., but build it here so they can build, have companies to build things, and electricity will be less. We're going to lower taxes with a purpose that we can generate lots of jobs. And this will be the southeast of the east, so that workers of Chiapas, Tabasco, Campeche, and Veracruz and Oaxaca, they won't have to go look for jobs in the U.S. They won't do anything without the consent of the people, the inhabitants, the indigenous, and the people of this region. We will not impose anything. They're going to like it. They're going to participate because you're not going to buy the land. We're going to let them form part of a, like they're going to be like a company. They're going to work with public participation and with public sector. They're all going to participate together. We're in Dos Bocas, Paraíso, Tabasco. This is where people go out, and we're buying 500,000 barrels a day, and we use 800,000 barrels a day in this country. We only produce 300,000 barrels. But in exchange, we're going to build a new refinery, and it's going to be done in 3 years at the most. And we will have the resources because we will not permit corruption, and we're going to save. And of course, there's not going to be luxury in the government. Don't think that the Petitlán is very far from New York. Before, when they didn't have trains in the roads, communication used to do it by boat. And if you live near the water, you live near the world. Because it has a majestic river which drops into the Gulf of Mexico. So it had a communication with Cuba, New York, and also with Europe. So when you're here in New York, don't think that it scares me. All towns have much history. They still had buffaloes in New York, and in Mexico they had universities. I say it with all respect. We have to talk with investors so that they won't be scared. We're telling them that the change will consist fundamentally of ending corruption. And that's the principal problem of Mexico. There will be microeconomic equilibrium and will be respectful of autonomy of the Bank of Mexico. We will not increase taxes in real terms. We will not give debt for the country, and we'll get zero deficit with zero corruption. Just like they're looking for legitimate activity, we're looking for the next president attending the preferential so that the country will do well. We will not allow that if you get benefits at the cost of the people of Mexico. So we're going to have a relation of respect with Donald Trump, but not subordination. And we're going to convince them that we need a relationship that is brotherly. So if there's growth in Mexico and work in Mexico, it will reduce the migratory phenomenon, and it will control the migration, and it will stop violence without the need to use any force. If there's jobs, then we're going to have development, and that's what we're going to use in this meeting with the United States. I used to come here when I was constructing every morning to supervise the second floor. In the city of Mexico, there was a problem, serious, because the same street, and there's too many streets, and it's hard to travel, because you would have to go through, make new roads, you would have to, so there was a lot of stays. So the option that we found was to utilize, to move up. So that's how we constructed this second floor with our own savings, and we didn't get into debt. In my time, those second levels cost during the Calderon's time, he stole a lot of money, but so Miguel Mancera was, when we still didn't have bad relations, he looked for me that OHL wanted to buy this part that we constructed, so that the whole second floor would have to be paid for. And they offered 650 million pesos, which would be utilized in works, public works. And I told them no, that would not be done, permitted. And so there exists, from where the flag is public, and from over there from the flag to here is private. And so they charge to use the road. So now the citizens pay taxes. Why are they going to still have to pay for the roads? If they're already paying, the government has the resources to make the works. So besides, those taxes could be used to do other works. And why would you still have to pay? That's privatization also, when it has to do with public works. I do consider a good government that attended people, and they did a lot for social development. The formula that we use in the city of Mexico consists of not permitting corruption and governing with austerity, and utilize the whole budget to the benefit of the people. That's what we're going to apply when I triumph in our movement on a national level. I've already got it very clear. I know how it needs to be done. So the building, those large columns, so this is the structure. So this is a work that's that is estimated initially $200 million, but we're not in conditions to waste, to invest so much money for something, to resolve a problem that we can attend to in a different way. They decided, and they decided to make this airport when they have an option of making two new runways in the military airport of Santa Lucia, as opposed to this land in Santa Lucia. Over there there's firm land. Here they refilled the lake. They want to close two airports in order to make this one. They want to close the actual airport and the other airport in order there would be interference in the air. So two airports with everything that's already been invested. So if we cancel this work, we're not going to cancel the contracts with the companies. We'll come to an arrangement so that the same amount of work that is being done here, we'll take it in the other place in Santa Lucia, and we'll resolve the problem. Besides, we won't have the problem that it sinks. Because yes, it's going to be a lot of money to try and keep filling this lake. It was the Lake of Texcoco. It's not only what it's going to cost to try and, but imagine what it's going to cost in maintenance. We have the accessory, and you know, they've constructed more in this area. This is Riobo Mar. He's the engineer. And in some cases, here they say, okay, it goes down a meter and 20 centimeters. So it goes down every year a meter. That's 3 feet. Wow. So they want to put 3 railways. I'm sorry. Yeah, 3. So they could just use the other ones that already exist. So they wanted to put 3 new ones in. But they could put 2 more in the other one instead of 3. That would help the transit for the airports, for the overloading, and it would continue to save the infrastructure that is already there and exists. This is offensive, spending money like this. The seismic control. They have to, so the people are sleeping on the street. We need to construct hospitals, schools, roads, bridges. We have to support the people that have lost their homes. Where's the money going to come to support this plan of reconstruction of the people? It's a waste. All this is influentialism and corruption, and we cannot tolerate this. Our children would not forgive us. So don't cut us with the same scissors. We're not all the same. So in the election of 2018 will be more than just an election for the people. It's a referendum, a consult, and we're going to ask the people, do you want more of the same? Or you want to change? But if the people vote for a change, on the next day of the triumph, I will be knocking on the doors to let them know this matter needs to be fixed. And we appreciate your attitude. Thank you. In the actual circumstances, the most important thing is to fight, to change the regimen. And that's what my party is doing. It's a position that's political, that takes care of the society. And it was a good decision to create Morena and to be careful that because they took power for the sake of power. The mafia of the power was convenient for them to debilitate the country with the idea that we're all the same and that we're all equal. If the less that we participate, the better for them. When more than 60% vote, then the mafia cannot win. So what are we offering? What democracy? That there not be frauds, that they respect the people's wishes, and to be respectful of the people, and for women to also work in every area. When I was chief of governors, of the 12 members of the cabinet, 8 were women. Morena has won the last elections in Mexico. And it has to do with a government that was integral in the city of Mexico. We're free and we're going to do what the people want, not what's convenient for the groups of created interest groups. So that's what our adversaries don't like, because it's got to do with components and comprehension, taking away the whole party thing, logic, or concept, or authority. What's required is two things: being honest and have good sentiments. The corrupt is not the left, and the one who gives his back or turns his back, the one that suffers, he's not from the left. Point. This is period. This is moments of glory. It doesn't happen always. It's a great opportunity. It's a moment of to be able to participate, to transform Mexico. I've been going from town to town, and I don't rest. Or he doesn't rest. No, because what feeds me is the enthusiasm of the people. If you stop fighting, it's to start dying. That strengthens that the people not lose the faith, even though things are difficult. So we're going to go to Los Pinos. So he's saying, don't forget what I said. He said that the chief of the mafia is actually in Los Pinos. He's the guy from, he's the one from Los Pinos. He's the worst of the mafia. I can travel through all the country, and people that are living at difficult times. There's areas that are controlled completely by delinquency. I can enter those areas because we are doing good. And he who struggles for justice has nothing to fear. That's why I can go through Mexico without a bodyguard. Because the protection is this it doesn't have any bling. And we go alone, just me and him. This extraordinary man, because he gives me lots of security. He drives very well. And Caesar. He knows everything. He's communicator of society for Morenas. Besides that, he is an accessory, a council secretary, particular secretary, because he's sometimes in the office. But it's a great apparatus of. It's just the three of us. It's very few. So violence happened because they stopped working, because they disattended the youth. So now we need to start by attending the causes. Peace and tranquility are fruits of justice. So you cannot. It's been observed what they've done to try to turn off fire with fire. They've used brute force, forcible measures, Marines, soldiers, jails, severe laws. That's not function. It's been demonstrated every day. As I said, when I was chief of governor for Mexico, as of early in the morning, 6 in the morning, I go to head the committee of security in the cabinet of security. I will have every day to my side Secretary of Defense and Marine and Health and Public Safety.
La Secretaría de Seguridad Pública no ha funcionado.
It hasn't functioned.
La seguridad pública
Public security
la Secretaría de Gobernación.
be given to the governing.
Se han robado el
They've
dinero.
stolen the money.
No.
Es
eso.
That's not what we are going to do.
No voy a delegar.
I am not going to delegate this function that is very important for the Mexican people. Besides profound politics of development, social development, we're going to have no laws are going to be modified. What the Constitution is already made. But who exercises the executive? So the president is also the executive for the military. So we're going to use the Marines and we're going to make a national guard. Right now it's a disaster because everybody does what they want. So on one side is the Marines, the Army, the police. It's not going to be like that. We're going to integrate them and in a coordinated manner, and we're going to act. And that's why I'm talking of the National Guard. And you don't need a constitutional reform because it's already constituted. We should not become accustomed to violence. It makes my heart happy to know that it hurts my heart that there's 74 homicides daily. There's going to be lots of attention to youth, men, women, elderly, and especially women, that there not be these horrible feminicides that are extended throughout the whole country. And we're going to protect also the newspaper people so they can exercise with liberty their right to inform. There's going to be a commission to know what's actually happening or related to the disappearance of 43 of Ayotzinapa. It is not acceptable, the version, the official version. We're going to reconstruct the acts, and we're going to figure it out, what the truth is. That's a commitment I'm making for the parents of the youth that disappeared in Iguala. And those that are looking for their family members that have disappeared, thousands, because Calderón and Peña converted the country in a cemetery. We're going to confront this painful problem that's national. Let's go, or else we're not going to get there in time. Regarding politics and domino, indecision is a problem. You need to go forward, always forward. I believe that politics is to be defined. It ended. It's all ended.
Bueno.
Okay.
Se terminó.
He said no, I didn't. Okay, he gave it a miss. Oh, it looks like he won. So this house was constructed by my mother. There were 6 brothers. Everybody got everybody got a hectare, and because I was the oldest, I got the house. And so we go to, that's the name of it, La Chingada. Why? Why did they call it La Chingada?
dirigente zapatista.
It's the director of the Zapatista
Luego de
group.
la O. Después de la revolución.
After the revolution,
Un ranchito. Le puso
went,
así, la
came
chingada.
to this
Y siempre
ranchito,
decíamos,
and he
¿a
named
dónde
it that.
vamos?
So he
Nos
says,
vemos.
where are you going?
Me voy
And he
a
would
la
say,
chingada.
I'm
Por
going
eso,
to La
pues,
Chingada. And so he
eso
named
no
it
lo
that.
sabe nadie.
Nobody knew
Que
that.
fue por Genoveo de la
No,
O.
that was because of Genoveo.
Necesito un tiempo para la reflexión, para
I
el
need
análisis,
some time for
tomarle
reflection
distancia a las cosas.
and take
Y cuando
distance from
puedo,
things. And when I
me
can,
vengo acá.
I
Este
come
es
here.
el mejor sitio, el mejor
This is
lugar,
the best place
donde más me fortalezco
where I can become strengthened
espiritualmente.
spiritually.
Este lugar, solo.
In this place, it's
Con mis
quiet,
reflexiones le
alone
doy
with my
1, 2,
reflection.
3, 4, 5
I
vueltas.
take
Aparte
a couple of
de
three
mi rutina
rounds around the place,
de
plus
médico,
my
por
routine
prescripción médica.
that per the
En la
doctor,
tarde,
I
le
have
doy
to walk in the
2, 3
afternoon
vueltas.
2 or 3 times,
Estoy viendo
and I look,
las frutas,
the fruit,
hablo
I talk
con los árboles,
with the trees.
en el buen sentido.
In a
Les voy a
good
mostrar
sense.
un cedro.
I'll show
grande,
you a
miren,
cedar that's very big.
80, 100 años.
It's about 80 or 100 years old. It's huge.
Majestuoso.
It's majestic.
Aquí los verdes se amotinan, el
And
calor
here
de
the
la canícula enciende las pasiones de
it
los
kinda
hombres.
goes
O sea, aquí
He says the
hablamos
sun that gets in.
fuerte, gritamos. El problema que tenemos como políticos es precisamente eso, ¿no?
Yeah,
Un
we don't talk
temperamento
strong. We have a good
muy
temper.
pasional.
That
Hay que aprender a
we need
equilibrar
to learn how to
razón
be
con pasión.
equal
Lo he logrado, sí,
reason
atemperar
with
mi pasión,
passion. My
autolimitarme,
passion is to self-limiting.
todo por la lucha, aunque las
Everything
grandes transformaciones
for
se hacen
the
con pasión.
fight.
Este es el plan
All
B.
the greatest transformations have
Nos
been done
estamos
with passion.
aplicando a fondo
What we are applying
para que no nos quede ningún remordimiento
so
de
that we won't
conciencia.
feel, we
Que no
won't
quede por nosotros.
have any
Y que voy a
conscience
luchar toda
bothering
mi
us.
vida hasta que
And I will
muera por
fight
mis
all my
ideales, por
life
mis
for my
principios, pero
ideals
ya no voy a
and
volver
my
a ser
principles. But I will not
candidato.
be a candidate again for anything.
Quemo mis naves. Toco
I
madera,
will
ojalá.
burn my,
Y
my
eso no suceda, porque son dos
boat.
caminos, ¿no?
Because there's two roads.
A Palacio,
To
para
Palacio,
aplicarnos a fondo
to
6
apply
años
myself for 6
y
years
transformar a México.
and to transform
Tengan
Mexico.
confianza.
You can have confidence in that.
Vamos a lograr el renacimiento de
We will
México.
gain
Vamos a
the
hacer historia.
rebirth of Mexico. We're going to make history.
No vamos a traicionar al pueblo.
We will
Nunca,
not.
jamás. Tenemos 3 principios que nos guían: no mentir, no robar, no
Okay,
traicionar.
I'm sorry.
Tengan confianza.
I have confidence. He says, I will not, what's the word for traición? I will not be a traitor. I will not do traitorous acts. And you can have confidence.
Entonces es
So,
a Palacio para
to Palacio,
transformar, para
so I
hacer
can
historia,
transform, to make history, or
a la chingada.
to La Chingada, which is where he's at right now. So this is his wife singing.
Para no hacer de mí cono pedazos, para salvarme entre únicos e impares, para cederme un lugar en su parnaso, para darme un rinconcito en sus altares. Me vienen a convidar a arrepentirme, me vienen a convidar a
How
que no
beautiful.
pierda, me vienen a convidar a indefinirme, me vienen a convidar a tanta mierda.
Oh,
Yo
Jesus.
no sé lo que es el destino, caminando fui lo que fui. Ay, adiós, ¿qué será?
I don't want to interrupt her
mío?
singing.
Yo me muero como viví, yo me muero como viví.
That part says, I will
Yo me
die like I
muero
lived.
como viví.
He looks like a proud man, proud of his wife. And it looks like he loves her voice.
Yo quiero seguir jugando a lo perdido. Yo quiero ser a la zurda más que diestro. Yo quiero hacer un congreso de lo mío. Yo quiero rezar a fondo un hijo nuestro. Dirán que pasó de moda la locura. Dirán que la gente es mala y no merece. Mas yo partiré soñando travesuras. ¿Acaso multiplicar panes y peces? Yo no sé lo que es el destino. Caminando fui lo que fui. Ay, adiós que será divino. Yo me muero como viví. Yo me muero como viví.
Wow.
Yo me
So
muero
beautiful.
como viví. Yo me muero como viví. Como viví. Yo me muero como viví.
He loved it.
Esto es para no cansarse,
This
porque
is
si nos
something
cansamos no vamos a lograr nada.
you can't get
Entonces,
tired.
la perseverancia
We
se
need
parece
to
a la necedad.
persevere.
Cuando es para una cosa
When
negativa,
it's something for
no
a
te
negative
sirve de
thing,
nada.
it's
Cuando la
useless.
necedad es para construir
But
un
when
mundo
it's for
mejor,
something
una mejor
constructive, for a
familia, una
better
mejor
world,
persona, hay que
for
ser
a
muy
better
necios,
family,
sin duda.
you have to be very stubborn, without a doubt. Wow. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going to go ahead and leave the you know, like who did what, because they deserve, you know, the production, colorista, assistance for the coloring online. So see, I want to make sure that the rights, I don't want to infringe on anybody's rights. It's a beautiful video. I enjoyed it very much, and I hope they don't mind. It's company Argos. Okay, so I'm going to end it right there. Let me see if I can find my display. There it is. Yay, I ended it in time. Okay, I don't know what you guys thought. I was very touched. This is not my first time seeing it. I had already seen it once, and it was very moving for me. And you know, I am so sorry, but some of the things that happen touch me so deeply as a human. And you know, pretty soon people are going to start taking bets as to if I'm going to cry during a video, because it seems like so many things touch my heart that yeah, I'm embarrassed to cry, and I wish I could take it out, but I don't want to interrupt the video, and I am inconsequential when it comes to this. It embarrasses me, but I have no control over it. It's beyond my control, and I'm so sorry. But I do want to share. I want everybody to know about AMLO, because he's, I think, the hope for this world right now, because hopefully other leaders will take and learn and see what's possible when you take corruption out of the game, when you do what's right for humanity. Anything is possible, and AMLO is proving it. He is showing the world what you can do when you do the right thing. And I'm letting you see my process. I'm using OBS to do the, you know, the corrections. But anyway, I do want you to know that this is something I love. I love to translate. And basically, you know, I like translating anyway, but this really moves me. It really moves my heart, and you can tell that it is heartfelt, and I am so proud of this Mexican president. I've never been into politics. I studied with Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't even really do anything political. But this, I believe, is a movement of, um, you know, people being good to people, and you know, I know that this world will never be perfect, um, but I think that people can have it a little bit better. I mean, more people could have it a little bit better. Enough for the rich people; they're already having it pretty damn good. And I don't have a um, financial crisis in my life, but I know what it's like, and I see it, and it breaks my heart, and it warms my heart when I see somebody helping the needy, and you know, uh, doing the right thing for people. It's a beautiful thing, and if I can contribute in any way to making other people's lives better, I am very willing to do it. And I thought, you know, when I was looking for AMLO, um, I couldn't find it. And I was like, who is this AMLO guy? And I can't believe that the news media is not letting the people know. It's ridiculous. The newspapers, the radio, even in Mexico, because it's owned by the corrupt political people that are still trying to get back into power and trying to get a hold of the money again in the country again. But AMLO is taking care of that. He's, putting the bases in place so that it, if anything, when he's out of power, and he's only going to do it for 6 years, and he signed a document today, because they're afraid. Oh, how long is he going to be in power? That people aren't going to want to let him to leave, or to leave the position of president, um, and they don't want him to go out, but he wants to pass this new law where with I think halfway through the term or every 2 years, something like that, that they can decide whether they want a president to stay in term. That way, if they get a bad president who's doing bad things, they can oust him within 2 or 3 years. So, like, when they get a wind of some kind of corruption, they can oust him. But, I guess they're having problems with the other party signing, for that, because they wouldn't like that. But anyway, so there's a lot of interesting things happening, a lot of dynamics, and um, oh man, I can't get enough of it. I translate every day, so unfortunately, they're very long. Sometimes like an hour, sometimes 2 hours. But I translate, and so I started around May, I think. I did a little bit in March, and then a little in May, and then in June I did a lot, and then I got hurt. And then also I was like losing faith. I go, nobody's interested. I only had 100 subscribers after a month of doing it every day. And I thought, oh, I don't know, nobody's even really interested. But then I thought, well, but I have to do it because there's a few that are interested. It's like for the ones that care, I'm willing to do it. And fortunately or unfortunately, I have a shoulder injury, and so I'm supposed to be getting surgery, and so I'm off work right now. And I say fortunately because I'm off work and I can do it, pay more attention. So that's why I'm doing a lot right now, because when I'm working, it'll be quite difficult to come after work and do this, after working sometimes 16 hours, and there's only 8 hours left for sleep, and doing whatever you got to do at home. And I work as a nurse in a prison, and so when we get forced over, that means there's not a lot of time for rest or anything else. So this sometimes takes me 2 to 3 hours, with the editing, and most of the time I do very little editing, but I prepare, make sure that the sound is good and all that, because I've had a few times that the sound wasn't so good, or they were too loud, or I was too quiet, or whatever. So I test it. But I just I I just want you to know it's a labor of love, and you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention to what's happening because hopefully, I don't know where you might be in the world. I know that in my part of the world, I'd like a little uh, more going towards the people instead of the rich people. But you know, they say the U.S. is the land of opportunity, but seems to be that the opportunities are getting less and less. Education is expensive, and a lot of people can't afford it. Food's gotten more expensive. Gas is extremely expensive. Um, there's poverty. There's people living on the streets. Um, the amount that the elderly get here to live on, I think is like, I know there's some people that are getting 500, 600, 700 a month to live on. That's unrealistic. And that money, they keep raising the age so that the elderly can't afford to survive, and they limit them. If you get a job, they take away your money, so there's no benefit for them getting like trying to get a little side job. They're like limiting them to live in dire poverty. I'm talking about our elderly. And AMLO was saying that Fox said that instead of giving money to the elderly, they should make them go back to work. Can you imagine after working all their lives? Now the elderly should go back to work. But of course, he was stealing all the money. He was getting it all for free, and he gave himself like this multi-million-dollar allowance in retirement, which was taken away. Thank goodness. All the presidents gave themselves like $5 million a month or something like that, something crazy. Uh, so anyway, just so you know, there was severe corruption in Mexico, severe, unbelievable amount, and they were letting companies come in, and there was a lot of trickery. I mean, they bought the refineries and then basically closed them down, so that Mexico would have to um, buy the gasoline. So they take the petroleum, and then they would, or the petro, and then they would send it to the U.S., where they actually made the refineries that they were supposed to make in Mexico. And so they basically closed down the refineries. I think there was like one or two left. And then they forced the Mexican people to buy it from the American people at an elevated price. And so AMLO says, hey, that's like us growing oranges, giving somebody else the oranges. They make the juice and then sell it back to us. He goes, that's ridiculous. So that's why he's trying to make Mexico self-sufficient when it comes to the gas. So he's rebuilding several of the refineries. And they said there was no more oil, and there's quite a few more places that they found oil, and they're putting new drilling. They're drilling new ones. And he also does not allow fracking. He says fracking would make it a lot easier. He goes, but it's bad for the environment. So that's the other thing. He's environmentally conscious, about what is good for the environment, because he wants to make sure that there's an environment left for the future generations. And another thing he did was he put the schools. So he's giving money for schools and all these different areas, and they're making new schools and hospitals. But in the schools, what he did is he made it that every time there's going to be like a committee made to control the funds that are given to the schools, and it has to be comprised of the educators and the parents of children that are actually in school, because they want to make sure that you have a vested interest, shall I say, that your interest is that your children have what they need, and so that they won't be stealing the money. Plus, the whole committee makes each other accountable, so that there won't be this secret stealing of money. The money is accounted for, and it is used for the purpose that it's intended. Just like today, there was a large piece of land. They said the biggest and probably the most expensive that was not sold at the auction when they were selling the lands that had been, the real estate that had been confiscated from, I don't know, either white collar crime or drug lords or whatever method, but people that were in government that had bought themselves all these properties using the government money. So they basically took all those properties back and they auctioned them, and a lot of them were really nice properties. And people, because they knew the money was going to benefit the most impoverished, they actually paid above asking price because they wanted to help. They want these rich people that were interested in helping Mexico. They bought a lot of things at a higher, including the cars. When he sold the cars, they bought it at a higher amount than what they were actually valued at, which is unbelievable. That's wonderful. I'm actually very proud of whoever it was that did that. Also, so anyway, so they're also building hospitals. And another thing that happened during that period of neoliberalism was that they privatized education. So these companies were now, instead of it being a right, like in the Constitution, for people to have their education even up to higher levels, they were making people pay. And most people didn't even have the money to eat, much less to pay for education. So now he's giving grants to the students or people that have students that are of age, to go to different levels of school. They'll be getting grants so that while they're going to school, which is now free, they will have money to be able to feed themselves, get dressed, get whatever it is, ancillary materials they need. So there's going to be a fund for those people, and a lot of them are already getting it. And they're making new books that are going to teach good things like ethics and all that stuff that was not being taught, and took out all that neoliberal baloney that was messing up the country. So they're getting new books, and they'll be made in time, for the new year to begin. So they're working on that. What else? And the other thing that happened was they were making it kind of like a lottery type situation where only, say, maybe 1,000 out of 10,000 applicants would get to go to college because they first of all, didn't make enough schools, and the other thing was, the ones that they were going to give grants to, they didn't want to spend too much money on that. So then, consequently, they have no doctors and nurses, are not enough. So now the ones that they have, they don't want to go live in work in the rural areas. So the other thing he did was he made them, they're going to get paid more money if they go work in the rural areas as an incentive. What else? There's so many things. You really need to, if you get the opportunity, and you're English speaking, watch my channel, AMLO-Vision, for translated information that has to do with AMLO's vision. And the reason I named this channel AMLO-Vision was because I knew that I wanted people to see him, and I knew that the television was not telling people about him, and I wanted people to know by the name that they would be able to see AMLO, or about AMLO. So this channel basically deals with anything related to AMLO in any way, and basically everything is related. Like when I'm going to be doing a video regarding homeless people, and I do bring that back to AMLO because he's dealing with that in Mexico. He's helping the very impoverished, which are the homeless for one thing, and so basically just about any topic I can think of that has to do with poverty or money or education or art, anything, is something that is fundamental, that is human rights, that is beauty, that is heartfelt, is something that I could relate back to AMLO. So, and also if I see a channel that is talking about something that I consider to be very important, and sometimes I just don't have enough time. There's so many of them, but I kind of select one or another, and I'm worried sometimes that they might be upset if I translate because, you know, infringement of rights or something, and I'm not trying to do that. I just want to let their material be shared with the English-speaking people, just like Selena, you know, when she was singing in Spanish, and then she started singing in English. You know, it was what they called, like, oh God, what was the word they used? It was something where it was crossover. So there was a crossover. So not only would you be with the Spanish-speaking public, now you were going to cross over to the English-speaking audience, and and you know, English is one of the strongest, or you know, most important languages in the world right now, where most people communicate either English or Spanish. I know that it's taught even in India and probably Japan and China. I don't know if they do it as a second language, but I know that they'll know one or the other, either Spanish or English for the most part. And that way it's shared with more people in the world. And besides, they could get a translator, yeah, pretty much for any of these languages. So um, I encourage anybody else in any other language to translate as well. And I'd be happy to show them on my channel or attach them so that they'll know to come here and get it. So if you're interested in translating in another language, oh man, that'd be awesome, because we need to share it with the world. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and I hope I didn't make this too long. Yeah, besides, you can always cut it off at where the end of his movie is anyway. This is just at the end. Have a great day. Bye now.